Holiday weekend. Well, welcome. I mean, a holiday weekend here in the States. So I don't know about where each of you are, but welcome. And I'm just doing a little thing here with my technology. Ah, one of the aspects of loop of awareness that I most appreciate is its ability to connect us. So I really am experiencing during this time that many people are wanting to go and hide in a cave, which is totally understandable. And what I've noticed is that as I'm using loop of awareness, giving myself attention and giving attention to what's going on out there, I notice that I notice more. So one of the things that fear and protection tends to do is to make us contract. And our vision becomes more contracted, the possibilities become more contracted. So as I'm just letting my attention flow, what I notice is that I'm aware of things I would not have been aware of before. That I'm aware of when someone's face just starts to change, and I know that they have something to communicate, or I'll just have a little intuition, and I'll look over there, and there's something that I'd wondered where the heck was that, and I lost it a couple of weeks before, and there it is. So there's an opening to the weave of aliveness that I think comes from loop of awareness. And it also allows me, and I think it can allow you to continue finding connection so that the experience of I'm all here by myself, nobody else is experiencing what I'm experiencing. Where is everybody? That you can allow yourself to really weave into the connection with other people. And one of the things that I'd love to have you do is to just simply give some attention to yourself right now, and just to notice how much of, like 0 to 100% of your energy chugging along. Just how are you right now as we're beginning? What's your energy level? You might also check into your reservoir. How full or how empty is your reservoir? And just to note that for yourself. And you might even jot it down, because what I've noticed is that just from our practice, I can feel my aliveness expanding. So that's one huge benefit. So you might just write that down, because, after we're finished, it'll be fun for you to look back and go, oh, wow, and see what has changed. And one thing I'd like to invite you to do is to notice when you're going to send your attention out. Do you find that coming as is it more like a fan, or is it narrow and focused? Is it more like a laser? Is it more like a bubble that you send out? And then when you bring it back to you, how do you experience giving attention to yourself? Not the content of your attention, but the how. And I'd like you to just notice how narrow or how wide it is. So as you're shifting your attention to outside, I'd love you to let it be either really wide or really narrow. And then as it comes back to you, finding a place in you that maybe also feels either really wide or really narrow. And what happens when you let your attention actually land on it? So I'd love to have you go ahead and start doing that. And then I want to read to you this wonderful quote that I've known for many years, but I found it again from Martha Graham, and we're going to put it in the chat. But I want to read it to you while you're letting your attention shift. So you go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to read this to you. And since it's going to be in the chat, you can just let yourself receive it, because I'm asking you to do, this thing. You're going to be both listening and also shifting your attention. So, whoa, it's an experiment. Okay. All right. So this is from Martha. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is or how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to all the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There's no satisfaction, whatever, at any time. There's only a queer, divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than the others. So yeah, I love the blessed unrest. There's that also for me correlates with thinking, oh, I'm not going to make any difference. My presence doesn't make any difference. And to hear that your unique expression weaves into the wholeness and provides not only connection for you, but connection for others. So I'd like you to just notice how, let yourself, the challenge is when something big, like, for me, the big quote comes through, what then happens to my attention? And then letting myself return to giving attention, receiving attention, and letting that be the basic mechanism that's going to fuel your aliveness. And I've just found that as I'm practicing, that I just notice so much more. I notice beauty. I notice the possibilities. I'll see somebody's feeling that's about to emerge. And that as I just give my attention to them, that feeling flows on through and they can, have more of a sense of, I can be myself around you. So the ultimate context that creates for me is the opening, and that I create safety where I show up because I am circulating my attention, which creates presence. So the big thing I notice from a loop of awareness is that I just experience more presence. So I get to enjoy more of life. And then as I do that, I'm creating more presence for other people to enjoy being around me. And I find that also just really delightful, that not by saying anything, like I always do this when I go to the store. That's my big loop of awareness, or when I go to the farmer's market, when I'm out in the world. That's what I'm doing all the time. And then what I will add to that is if I have an impulse to appreciate, I add that in, like, oh, that color, when I look at that color, it just makes me smile. And letting people know that their presence is of value to me. And appreciation is really the most powerful way to do that. So when that's an impulse that I think most of us, we stop it. But it's a wonderful way to connect with just people in the world as you're moving around, going from place to place. So I'd like you to just do one more check inside if there's any place in you that would just like a little bit more attention. You can love scoop it. You can give it some breath. You can give it drops of love. I want to then share with you the card for today. And today I just opened the deck, since we have now videos for all of the cards in the deck, the integrity deck, which you can find on Foundation for Conscious Living. This is the one that popped out at me. So speaking about relating to the opening, letting yourself go just right on out into that enormous space, and then to realize that you have as enormous of a space inside you as you imagine is out there in the universe, that unimaginable opening. And I'd love you to look at the card and giving your attention to it, noticing what you notice, and then giving attention to you and noticing what you notice while I read first the sentence and then the question. I create openness to learning in and from all of my experiences and collaborations. Oh, I'm going to read that once more. I create openness to learning in and from all my experiences and collaborations. And then just notice how you're receiving that, what pops up inside you. It might be images, or it might be a memory, or feelings, emotions, body sensations. You might feel a warmth, you might feel a flow, or a little tightness somewhere. The question is, by what means can I shift readily and easily from blame to wonder? That's the big responsibility move. This is from the healthy responsibility part of the deck. And we confuse responsibility. Let's come on back to the big group. We confuse responsibility with either blame or burden, rather than the opportunity to reclaim your creativity. That's how I experience responsibility. And that if I claim my ability to learn from every situation, to learn from every interaction, just that opens possibilities, because there are all kinds of creative possibilities that we don't know about yet. And what's happening a lot in society right now is we have a very small context that people are bouncing around in. It's, basically the drama triangle of the hero, the villain, and the victim. So as you get open to presence, and you get open to, what could I learn from this? That to me is the key move. In our book, The Conscious Heart, we made that's the master commitment, is my willingness to learn from every interaction. And I don't always come in like, oh, I'm so willing to learn from every interaction. So I might come in, really in blame, like I'm going to find out whose fault this whole thing is. And as I find, as even I use loop of awareness to go, oh, where am I experiencing that in me? And I give it some attention, it literally begins to shift. And I can shift my molecules inside me more toward flow. And then I start opening to possibilities out there in the world and then in here. And then that weave begins. And I really experience that all of us want to have attention. We want to have attention given to us. We want to be able to give attention to others, and we want to be included. So I want you to just take a moment to include yourself. So you've included yourself by showing up today. And those of you who might be looking at the video later on, you've chosen to welcome yourself by including. So as you're also, one of the things I love about the love scoops. And I think it's really important for us to include love scoops in our days, because love scoops are your choice to be here, not your waiting for something to happen so that you can feel okay to be here. When you choose to engage particularly by reaching out and including you, I feel, even just from doing those two, I start to feel a little melting, any roughness in me. But I am not waiting. I'm going to let myself express and include me and include anybody else. And I've had daily wonderful surprises by doing that. Just by jumping into the unknown, tiptoeing into the unknown, making that little invitation makes just such a huge difference. And so I want to invite you into that as well. And today, for those of you who may be new, I wanted to, in our loops and scoops in the morning, I like to include a whole bunch of stuff so that there's lots of goodies for you to have to play with during the week. And our Presence Connect Play app, which is a free app, which really allows you to practice instead of the triangle of the hero, villain, victim. It allows you to learn how to presence, how to deeply connect, and how to play. We really know that play is so much more effective than work. But I think we're all a little play deprived right now. You might even feel a little guilty about playing. Like, how can I be playing with what's going on right now? And my sense is that's really the only thing that's going to make a difference is to play with what is occurring. So the presence for today, the presence app is befriend feelings and be with. One of the wonderful things about presence is that you don't need to do anything. So I'd like you to let yourself notice some feeling that you've been experiencing over the last couple of days or the last week or so. And whether you have let yourself be with it or whether you've moved into judging it or trying to get rid of it or blaming it on something or someone. And I want to invite you to that being with is one of the most powerful moves that we can make. And I wonder how you could let yourself create a being with attitude. So if just organizing your body, like to be with, one of the things I do is immediately I can feel my chest opening rather than closing. So to be with, I also kind of come up and out of myself a little bit like, uh, hmm, I come into wonder and I feel much more of a softness. And I love to, I know I have some friends that, and when I stand next to them, we sort of bump each other a little bit. We kind of, we're standing there, but we sort of bump each other. Or, you're standing behind somebody. One of the things I'd love to do when we used to do this thing called standing in line to go to the movies, we would, which you don't do anymore. That's one of the things I appreciate about reservations. So I'm standing in line. I kind of nudge my friend who's in front of me. I do a little, I'm a little bit of a troublemaker that way. I like to kind of, nudge and do, noogies. I don't know if you remember back in the old days, Saturday Night Live noogies, where this quality of being with, but it also has just a little bit of a playfulness to it. Like, I'm here and you can connect with me. So I'm here with you and I'm not doing anything. I'm just being here with you. I think that's so incredibly powerful because we think we've got to do something to help or to give, some kind of instruction or some kind of, it's going to be better. And really, people don't need that and often don't want that. But what they really will slurp up is your presence. So you might even think of someone that, someone in your life who's maybe having a hard time right now or going through something. And even though they're not in the room with you, you can still presence with them. You can let your loop of awareness reach out and lasso them and circle them, and you can be with them in space. You can take a couple of breaths to being willing to learn whatever there is to learn from this and inviting them into that openness to learning. I find that I'm most effective when I let my presence lead rather than my head. So my whole body presence often is all that's needed. And it also feeds me. So here's the thing about our practice is that you get to be included. So you're not just giving and draining yourself. You get to have that richness of attention too. And what you'll find is there's plenty. So the more you open the faucet, the more there is. So the more that you let yourself be present with what is, the more you can do that. So that's for presence. And this is a great one. So connect is give attention to where others' body and breath is open. So again, I love how these things almost always come together, to support each other in your practice. So noticing, because what we almost always notice is what's wrong. And I know that when I'm showing up, like it used to be when I would show up at the holidays to my parents, almost always there would be a focus on, oh, what's wrong now? Or what are you working on? Or what's the problem? Rather than that focus on where breath is open, where a person's body is open. And that opening is where you can meet and create more space together. So I'd love for you sometime during this next week, or maybe even today, when you're meeting somebody, rather than getting immediately involved in the content, letting yourself simply do a few loop of awarenesses where you're letting yourself notice, where's an opening? Where is the breath open? Where am I open? And letting then your expression come into that opening. And then play is bodify your experience for a moment before speaking. This is a newer one that we've put into the Presence Connect Play app. And one of the things I love is that almost always people will go up to express. So they will go up into their head and kind of figure it out or rehearse it rather than letting their body, your rich body awareness, give you a clue as to what's going on. So when you're, so if I'm saying, what's going on with you right now? And so instead of you're saying, oh, I'm fine, or everything's okay, letting yourself just bodify. In fact, let's just do that right now. So hey, how are you? How are you experiencing yourself today? So rather than, because you notice it's immediately, you're going to go, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to explain? Letting your body answer that. So that's really what this prompt is about, is when someone asks you something, just letting your couple of breaths in your body, letting your body, and then letting your mouth speak into that opening. And that might be new for you, but I find it a source of what I call speaking from discovery. Because if I let my body answer, then I don't know what I'm going to be saying. And that keeps me in a zone of discovery rather than I'm going to rehearse and then I'm going to report to you. And there's no aliveness in that. It's totally dead. And so what I make to, if someone asks me, I go, oh, yeah, I'm checking. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel a little tight. Oh, my oomph in my back. I'm feeling this today. And then that's a discovery to me and more of a connection with them. So those are some possibilities for you to play with during the week. And let yourself just take a moment to both appreciate you and appreciate other people that are on the call. And letting your body express anything else that it wants to express for right now. The more I let my body express, the more articulate I get. The more I go up into my head, the more I get. So it's your choice. You want to be smarter or do you want to be more, I don't know what's going on, but I bet you do. And so I love having your presence today, and I'm going to go ahead and take my leave. Please stay and have big talk and sharing openings. And until next time, take care.